Good morning, Miami Dolphin fans. Welcome to Dolphins Thirsty, all things we talk about when it comes to the Miami Dolphins, our favorite team. Even if they drive us crazy and make us scream at times, the Dolphins are our team. So let's talk about them. It's not much news, so I haven't been doing my daily shows. I'm just doing a couple a week now as the off season is setting in and the free agency frenzy is slowing down. We got the draft coming up, of course, in the near future, and we got all kinds of stuff to talk about as that comes closer to being. We can talk about running backs. Hopefully, we get some of our draft nicks in here that knows all the prospects very well. There's just a couple that I've added to my page if you want to go read about them. I have more coming really soon. So anyway, guys, welcome to the Miami Dolphins show this morning, and we are going to have fun talking about the Dolphins. The big news this week was who they brought back. A lot of the names had already announced back, but earlier in the week, it was reported by Jason Sarney that the Dolphins were bringing back Andrew Van Ginkel. So that adds to the list of Dolphins that have already come back. That was the banner you saw start my show. Some of these Dolphins, not all the ones that the Dolphins have brought back, but here are some of the ones they have brought back. You got River Craycraft, you got Duke Riley, you got Miles Gaskin, you got Nick Needham, and then, of course, we just talked about Van Ginkel. And then we've also, of course, brought back all the running backs, including Ahmed, Mozart, and Wilson. So we will be bringing back a lot of our players for another run. And we know it was a pretty good group last year. I know people get upset. The running game wasn't that great. But if you look at the numbers, I would blame the coach maybe a little bit more getting away from the running game than I would the players participating in the running game, because we had a pretty good yards per carry. When we ran the ball, I think we ran it efficiency, and especially the game up in Buffalo in the regular season, we were killing them on the ground, and we just mysteriously went away from it. So I think it's what we can get by and do well, not just get by. I think we can do exceptional with our current running backs. Yes, like all of you, I would love to see an offensive lineman come to the Dolphins, but I don't know. That could be the draft. It's going to have to wait for a young guy, but obviously they were not going to spend big money on the offensive line because they take up a lot of cap money, your stud offensive linemen, and the Dolphins are already up against the cap number when you consider we still got to sign others and have a little bit extra money for when injuries happen this season. You got to get people on your roster to fill in. So, and then we're already scheduled to be like 35 million over the cap next year. So I do not see. Is it possible they could pull off the trigger and make a big trade if the demands come down for some of those backs? Yes, but am I counting on it? No. I think you're looking at probably draft picks, cheaper free agents if they get cut by other teams or whatever, but I don't see any big, sexy, as we like to call them, additions at running back, and I don't see any new shiny objects, veteran offensive linemen coming in on the last second, unless after some team surprise people after post June 1st cuts and they do some salary cap cuts and we can get someone on the cheap. So basically what we see in our roster is what we see moving forward, other than, of course, the draft picks that we have. So that's what we will have to see. Good morning, Steve. Welcome to the show. As always, fins up, like, and subscribe. Steve, just his name coming in here reminds me to tell people to like and subscribe to this channel. And while you're at it, you can go over to Steve's shows, which is on the Fins Talk Sports Network. He's the host of Real Talk, Fins Talk, and I'm his co-host every Tuesday night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And now it's on the Fins Talk Sports Network. Welcome, Steve, and as always, thank you for joining us. I was telling everyone it's going to be a little bit of a shorter show. There's not too much to talk about in Dolphin Land that we haven't already hashed this week. There's no new signings over the past couple of days that we haven't already talked about. The draft is still the unknown, at least now going in, as if you want to read a good article from Bobby Fins Talk on Dolphins Thirsty, he has some good prospects that would be good picks for the Dolphins. It's a bigger, wide range now because the Dolphins aren't set where they have to draft any one position. So they kind of covered all their needs, other than maybe the offensive line. I know one of ours does, but we still need linebacker depth. we'd still, you never know. There's all kinds of back. Could a running back surprise us at second that we want and we just find too valuable? Again, though, I want to think Chris Kerr doesn't have that history of, spending big resources on a running back. But as the old saying is, we will see, because we are in position that we can move forward. Which brings me to the question. Yesterday morning on Good Morning Football, before I ventured across the state to go watch some spring training baseball, woke up, watched a little Good Morning Football instead of hopping on YouTube football stuff. And they just happened to be talking about the AFC East. And Dolphins almost got done dirty. They were saying who has the best talent on paper, and they were basically talking between the Jets and the Bills, with the asterisk that they were assuming that Rodgers was on the Jets. And then at least towards the end of that segment, I'm like, man, Dolphins are getting no love. They're just debating. Then Palacero, who's filling in as a guest host this week, said, well, don't forget about the Dolphins. I think they could be in that discussion. And then they said, yeah, they could be in that discussion too. So at least we got a little love. But I was thinking, boy, they're really throwing Dolphins under the bus. They were just basically saying the Jets and the Bills both have better talent than the Dolphins. And a lot of that's going to center around the quarterback, because the big, sexy name quarterbacks get a lot of attention. So, yeah, if you got Josh Allen and then, you get Aaron Rodgers, that's going to boost on my head of the Dolphins in people's eyes, because Tua's been hurt a lot. So hopefully Tua steps up and he can be mentioned in the same breath as some of those guys moving forward, staying healthy, contributing to Dolphins winning football games. But I just thought, I was like, ouch, when you're hearing them. I say, oh, they're going to do best AFC East. And almost a whole segment was focused on Jets and Bills, who has a better team on paper. It was all about paper, and we know how paper gets crumbled up and thrown out when the regular season comes. But right now, they were talking about who has a better roster on paper, and the Dolphins barely got mentioned. We're all loving our roster, thinking this is one of the strongest Dolphins rosters we've had in years. So that was kind of a blow. But, that's just everyone's opinion. That's what they're entitled to. And I do agree, though. It's very tight in the AFC East. There's not much room. If you have a losing streak this year in the division, you're going to be screwed and not even in a playoff spot, because these other teams are going to be squeezing you out. And even last year, it still came down to the last game for the Dolphins to sneak into the playoffs and needed help. And that's what the Jets were riding on our tails last year. So, and now the Jets may add a Hall of Fame quarterback to their roster. So, yes, it's going to be a tight race moving forward. So, anyway, Steve, I don't know what you feel. Who has the best roster on paper? Like I say, paper can be crumbled up in the regular season start, but that was a little blow, to the ego. And you're here I was getting ready to go see some spring training football over in Bradenton, Florida, which is like a 3-hour drive from where I live here in South Florida. Drive across the strait and then up the state. But it was a nice morning, not too bad traffic. So it was a fun day with the family watching spring training Boston Red Sox baseball. We went to it was my first time there. We went to where the Pittsburgh Pirates spring train. But it was fun. It was a nice little stadium. And the Red Sox fans definitely took over the stadium. We were a lot more in numbers than the Pirate fans, at least yesterday. And it was a fun day. But anyway, so back to football. Like I said, this is going to be a short show, guys, because I'm flying solo again. But it's all fun. If there's anything you guys want to talk about, shoot me, and I will shoot you a link, and I'll throw you in the show, and we will have fun. And actually, I would drop the link right now. Let's see. Give me 1 second, doing everything here. All right, I'm going to drop the link. Some of my regulars aren't here today. I was hoping for some Ender and Anthony. At least I got Steve in the house, which is always great. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. So I like the Van Ginkel move. I know his numbers have declined last year. Over the last year, his numbers declined, but he was showing a lot of improvement each year. But then last year, we had a lot of players at that position, and then we added Chubb at the trade deadline. So, Van Ginkel kind of got pushed back to the background. But I think he's a quality player. He must like what's going on here. They said that Fangio reached out to Van Ginkel, so he must have liked what he heard, said he's a good fit. He must have figured he's a good fit for our system. So hopefully, I was going to hate to see him go to New England. Gesicki's already gone up there. I was going to hate to see Van Ginkel land with the Patriots. That was gonna be a punch to the face because I like him. He's a good player. I know most of you guys probably remember for his most two famous, famous play for him, his most two well-known plays. One last year, he scooped up the blocked punt when Jalen Phillips blocked the punt, and he scooped that up and ran it in for a touchdown. And an otherwise hard-fought game that that was a big point in the game. Without that, we probably don't win that game against the Bears. And then Tua's first career start, he had a large fumble return, 78 yards against the Rams that he scooped up after, oh my God, little brain freeze. I forget who hit who caused a strip sack, but the ball got strapped, and boom, there goes Van Ginkel for like 78 yards with the fumble recovery. So that was a lot of fun. That's a Van Ginkel moments I remember best. Those two big game-changing plays, which were because the Rams were driving on us, and then boom, he takes the ball to the house, 78 yards. That was a lot of fun. So, like I said, he's a good back. I mean, is he going to be a game changer? Probably not. But, you need your solid pieces back. Yes, it's fun to add new sexy names to the roster in every offseason and get you excited, but it's also good to bring back solid pieces to your already existing pretty solid roster to build a foundation on moving forward. And that's one thing the Dolphins haven't been great at over the last few years. They're not consistently bringing back their own guys. They can't even keep our own offensive line coach. It's like, 11 offensive line coaches in 10 years. Now that's like more than one a year because the 1 year Flores fired the offensive line coach in the middle of, training camp. So we didn't even get one to do a whole year. So we've had a lot of offensive line coaches. So it's hard to stay as a consistent winner when you do that. But, we're Miami Dolphin fans. It's great. And, there's a lot of things to be excited for, looking forward to this year. We're on the cusp of really great things, I believe. We just got to keep going in the right direction. We can't worry about the Jets getting Aaron Rodgers. And we know as fans it's tough, but the team itself can't worry about stuff like that. They just have to build their best team and to be able to compete against all the teams. Because if you do the team just to beat the Bills, then guess what? The Jets are going to sneak up and beat your butt. So you got to be able to be a well-rounded team that can compete against anyone in the NFL on any given day, in any given condition, whether it's cold, whether it's hot, whether it's rainy. Thank you, Bobby of Fins Talk Sports Network. And thank you for your great articles on my website. And yes, I will hopefully get back to writing more articles today. Kind of got baseball crazy this week. I went to the WBC final here in Miami area. I'm in Broward County, but that's just a hop, skip, and a jump away from downtown Miami. So I was at the WBC Classic with my son, my youngest son. My oldest son, who's up in Gainesville, was very jealous when he found out we were sending pictures from. He goes, "Well, we went to the World Baseball Classic without me." I'm like, "Son, you're up in Gainesville. We're not in Star Trek time where I can beam you over here." It was a last-minute decision. My son and I were looking and, oh, hey, these tickets aren't that bad. We were in nosebleed seats, but that didn't work on my son when I was trying to tell him, "Oh, we're just in nose. You're not going to like it." He goes, "I would be there, though." But it is what it is. It was fun. And it was a great time. And then yesterday we went all the way over to the west coast of Florida and kept spring training action. Yeah, my wife sent me because it's just me and my son that went to the WBC. She went with us yesterday. And then she was saying, "Yeah, I don't think Kevin's liked those pictures," because I just sent him in our family group. And his first reaction, instead of, that's a 20-year-old for you. He's just going to say, instead of saying, "Oh, you have fun, guys," he's saying, "Hey, I'm not there." Because he's a baseball diehard too. Both of my boys are. So, but he goes to a lot of UF baseball games. So I try to get off that. And then yesterday, I did not send, since my wife was there, we didn't send one picture of us at the spring training game. That would have been another blown gasket. So let's see. Steve's saying here, Lamar, Hopkins, Zeke, and Henry all four possibly on the AFC team. Patriots still have a lot of money. Yes, no, it's going to be I agree. And that's why when they were talking about who has the best roster in the AFC East on paper, I thought for sure the Dolphins, this was yesterday morning on NFL Network, Good Morning Football, whatever they call their show. And they were talking about best talent in the AFC East. And it was basically Jets and Bills love fest. until their guest host, Tom Pellis, said, oh, don't forget the Dolphins right at the end. He said, oh, and you can't, the Dolphins aren't to be counted out. So I'm like, oh, at least someone has some love for our team. But it's all good, like I said, because papers crumbled up at the start of the season, and you got to prove on the field who's the better team. And it's going to be a fun season. And I don't care. I'm not even going to get about who's better. It doesn't matter, because I thought we've had, how many times have the Dolphins won the Super Bowl trophy for off-season winners? But then the regular season comes and we can't even, get to the playoffs most of the time. And then when we do, we don't even win a playoff game. So I don't care. Talk is cheap. Playing is where it's at. And I don't care if we got a stud running back. It still doesn't mean we're going to win anything. So we just got to go out there, play our best football. Don't focus on one team in the division, because then the other team's going to bite you in the butt the minute you think, oh, we're catching up to the Bills, and the Jets are going to soar past us. Sorry for the pun, but, they're going to fly right past us if we're all focused on the Bills. So I say we just bring it every single day. The Dolphins, they seem to have a good atmosphere. I know Lamar, if they would pull off that, yes, we could be in a bit, it is what it is though. See, like I said, because all the teams are going to be good, and that would be another, kick in the groin, so to speak. But again, you got to get out there and play on the field, because it's always going to be competition in the NFL. You're never just going to walk through and be the best team, unless you're the 72 Miami Dolphins. You're going to have battles every single week. And it's going to be tough. And there's going to be, if you get out of survive the AFC East and get to the top, you still got the Kansas City defending Super Bowl champions. You got the Cincinnati Bengals, a team that's good for many more years. And, they're building their line in front of Joe Burrow. So, there's no easy ticket, especially in the AFC. It's a rough go. It's not like New England when they were like dominating in the AFC, in part because they were in the AFC East when the Bills suck, the Dolphins suck, and the Jets suck, and New England would run away with the division every year with almost no competition other than the one game that the Miami Dolphins would beat them every year, just to, make it like that was our playoff win, is beating them once a year. So, at least we're past those days. We're not just celebrating yes, we did celebrate maybe a little too much for the Dolphins beating the Bills last year in the first regular season game that we faced them. But, that was just been a long time coming that the Dolphins hadn't beat Buffalo, and it was nice to see. And all three games against Buffalo last year showed we can compete with them. So there's no reason to think that we can't still compete with them, because I do believe we've improved our roster a little bit, because I think as long as our corners stay healthy, we definitely have improved our cornerback situation without a doubt, no debate about that. And then I know a status quo so far at a lot of the other positions. You could debate whether we've downgraded at tight end or we've actually improved, because, Eric Schaubert might be a better fit than Gesicki. Gesicki's a bigger name and gets the more attention. So some people would say we've downgraded in the tight end room, but for a Dolphins fit, maybe that is an update. So we would never know. Yes, Steve, I know. It's true. And yes, right now, but a lot of that I throw out, because right now that we got one of the hardest schedules based on this last season. But so many times that's changed, because teams that we think stink now and end up being good. Teams that we think are good now and have a fallback year and they're not as good. But I agree, we do play a lot of top defenses, and we play a lot of the top teams next year. There is no that when you look at the schedule, it's tough. It's a brutal. And it just shows to go, because people, when the season started and we had the Lions on the schedule last year, we're like, oh, we got the Lions. That team would almost beat us, and they improved so much that now this year, a lot of people are saying the Lions may be the best team in that division over there, especially when the Packers lose Rodgers. So it's times change every year. Thing comes. Yes, Steve, on paper. That's what I say. So, and I used to do that the other way, but I'm finally just calmed down a little bit, and I'm not panicking when we don't have an offensive lineman, and I'm not celebrating that we got one of the best cornerbacks in football, because I know a lot is still to be had before the regular season. See how the draft rolls out, see if teams start cutting some veteran players because of contract situations. Some guys may just roll out there. They may not be a good fit for their team, but still be better than what we have at like right tackle on the Dolphins. Stuff like that does happen every so often. because, it's just how salary caps are with different teams, and they might be stronger at one position than they are at others, and they have to make hard decisions, and that can be our benefit. Just like we may have to cut a good receiver at one point, and then that would benefit some other team. So it happens out there. So that's all you can hope for moving forward. That's my one knock, is that I don't think we concentrated in the offensive line. But if you listen, Feeney, I think, could be good. I mean, he's going to be at least as good as Dieter, I would say, be able to fill in at guard and center. So I don't think we've downgraded on the line. We just haven't upgraded. But if you listen to the Dolphins this year, they've been pretty honest. They've told you two of us are starter. All their actions have indicated Tua's their starter. They have said they liked the running back room last year. All indications are they liked the running back room last year. They said they want Austin Jackson and Eichenberg to be a part of this team and compete. And so far, their actions are showing that they feel like that. There hasn't been much smoke. I know tonight, watch Finn's Talk Sports Network, and they're talking about the smoke that the Panthers are giving out on about the draft. But the Dolphins haven't really given out much smoke this year. They've basically said what they mean. And so far, their words have been backed up by their actions. They said two of us the quarterback. They pursued Mike White, who's not going to come in and beat Tua. They've given Tua his 5th-year option. So they were telling the truth. Tua is QB1 for the Dolphins. They told you they love their running back room. Not only they brought back Ahmed. All these guys were out contract. Could have easily moved on and just said, "Oh, we find better contract fits somewhere else." They brought back Ahmed. They brought back Wilson. They brought back Mosier, and to even put a cherry on the top of the cake, a guy I never thought would be back. No knock against him, but they brought back Myles Gaskin on the last move. One of the last moves they did. So they haven't given us anything to think. So what they've said this year is basically what they've meant. And, not a lot of football teams can say that. But this year, the Dolphins have said what they meant. No, I know, Steve, honestly, doesn't mean games. I'm just saying that, people dying for this big running back trade or this big offensive line pickup. If you listen to what they're saying, excuse me, if you're listening to what they're saying so far this offseason, they stood by what they said. So I don't know. They probably view the running backs different than us. I don't think Carrera's ever put much stock in them. So unless the asking price comes really down, I don't see it happening. So, but like I say, I could end my show today and I'd be eating lunch and news would come across our Twitter feed that the Dolphins pulled the trade. You never know. That's what makes it fun. That's why the NFL never dies. And I agree, honesty doesn't win. But, we've lied our ass off in the past and we don't win. So what's the difference? Honesty or lying doesn't win. What wins is having the best players on the field at any given time, staying healthy, saving consistent in the coaching staff, which the Dolphins are. At most, we get maybe 3 years out of coach, and then see ya. And guess what? It's starting all over again. And then sometimes you keep a GM a few years, get rid of the GM, keep the coach, keep the GM, get rid of the coach, and it never ends. So, but the next cycle, they all are going to have to go if that happens. But I'm hoping that this is it. I really do like McDaniel. I think he learned. He's a rookie coach. We knew he was a rookie coach coming in, and that you're going to take some bumps because they think, like all of us, if we all think we know it all at time and whatever we do, and then you realize, oh, I got to learn and do whatever. So all the assistant coaching he did, he had a great resume, very good resume, but it's still not the head honcho where, the buck stops with you, as the old saying stays. Now that's it. No matter what, it stops in McDaniel. If the defense sucks this year, we hired Fangio, it stops in McDaniel because he's ultimately the head coach and he has to pay the piper. So hopefully that doesn't come to be. I think it's a great match. I think Fangio is the perfect, just as what I wanted someone like last year. That's who I wanted, because someone that was him in a shot against Josh Boyer. But I wanted that veteran experience last year once we decided to go with a rookie. Once we decided to go with a rookie head coach, I did want that veteran experience. At least he can say, he can say the Dolphins, have someone to lean on as far as the head, as far as the coach, because last year, that's it. The buck stopped with him, but he didn't even have an experienced head coach to fall back on and say, oh, private, because you're still the boss. So you don't want to see your subordinates asking another guy, but at least if you go, hey, Fangio, come in here for a minute. Let's just have lunch. And then you can ask him some questions off the record and, get some experience questions on how he handles situations when people are going crazy and stuff. So I do like that move. So we'll see. It should be a good. Oh, yes. Thank you, Steve. Please like and subscribe. That will be an honor. Like and subscribe. And speaking of Bobby, let's see if I have. Bobby is writing good articles. I thought I had a banner up there. I don't right now. But he has a few good articles on my site. So make sure you go read them. One of them is about some of the best draft picks maybe that the Dolphins could take. I think he had, I don't know. I read it, and then I've done a lot of baseball since I read it. I think that was one of the players that he had up there. Tucker Kraft, he's a tight end out of South Dakota State. I think he would be a good fit. Bobby thinks he would be a good fit, and a lot of people I've read about think he would be a good fit. But it's a good read. Possible draft targets for the Miami Dolphins. Go check it out on my website, dolphinthirsty.com. There you go. Thank you, guys. Like I said, I'm going to keep this show short. There's not a lot. I'm flying solo. If any of you guys ever want to join my network, let me know, and we can try to do shows, and it would be a lot of fun. The pay's not good. You're not going to get paid anything, but you get to talk Dolphin football, promote whatever you have going on. If you have your own site, if you have your own Twitter page, if you have your own YouTube page, come on, promote that, the heck out of that. This will be all fun. And we just basically get to talk Dolphins. And if there's any baseball fans out there, I would love to try to get a baseball show going, because that's one, I know it's maybe a dying sport to some of you guys out there, but to me, I will always love baseball. Hey, there you go. That's my guy. What, Tucker Kraft, Daniel? And thank you, Daniel, for always. You're great. I love your comments on my videos all the time. Fans like you is what makes it awesome. And if you ever want to join the show, let me know. So it is awesome. But yeah, there are some. I think the Dolphins can get good talent in this year's draft, even though we don't have a first round pick for two reasons. We traded one away for Chubb, and then the NFL snatched one away for tampering. So that's that's just reality. At one point, we thought we might have two draft picks. I had a feeling, though, that Dolphins were going to get nailed by the NFL. Of course, I did not know they were going to pull off the Chubb trade. I just had a feeling all along that once Flores broke the bombshell, that the Dolphins would get nailed. It wasn't turned out to be for the tanking that most people thought. Oh, they're going to get nailed for tanking. They're going to be screwed if it's, for tampering, because they could never prove tanking. And they were going to punish the Dolphins no matter what. Once that bombshell came and some of the stuff that Flores alleged, I said, well, the Dolphins are going to once again be the team that gets screwed, because teams tamper all the time. But this time there was just too much evidence of it. Maybe they went a little over the top, getting on odds. But still, teams do this all the time, But normally you don't have a disgruntled coach burning down the bridge and letting the whole world know you did it. That's the difference. That's why you got to be careful on what you do, because you never know who you're going to make mad. Because I sure as hell would love that first round pick right now. And I personally, even though this may make some people mad, I would personally still have the pick instead of Chubb. I'm hoping I'm wrong, that Chubb comes in here in Fangio's defense and kicks butt, and this does great. Steve loved the Chubb trade at the time, so I give him the thumbs up on that. He thinks he's going to be a good guy. I thought we already had signed a lot of guys to the big money deal, and then we're tying more money up in another big money deal. So let's just see. Let's just hope Chubb comes in, plays under Fangio, and puts up good numbers. The funny thing is, so just Malik Reed, he actually put up better sack numbers than Chubb did when they played under a Fangio defense, and he wasn't even a high draft pick or anything. So you just, he came in there and kicked butt. So it just shows that you never know who's going to do well. Now, Malik Reed didn't come last year. That's why we probably got him. He didn't play all that well last year with Pittsburgh, so we probably got him on the cheap. But he's a guy that could really surprise us. I think we're pretty good. I think we've improved in a lot of areas. We will see. It should be fun and could be good. But I sure as heck wish we had the first one of those first round picks, because we're really not that far. If Bobby's in here, he's been studying the draft on and I am just really starting to get into it now that free agency is dying. But from what I think a very strong chance he'd be there at 51. 84, I do not know. And I would probably say no. If you want Kraft, you're probably gonna have to get him at 51, but he could. Let's see if Bobby's still in here. So Bobby, if you're listening and can't type and see the screen, Daniel's asking, Rob, do you think we can get Kraft at 84, or do you think he will have to be taken at 51? Yes, I did, Steve. For me, that's pretty bad. I try. No, not saying I'm here. I try to be good. I'm not Mr. Squeaky Clean everywhere in the world, but I try to be on here, and then sometimes it still pops out because, heck, we're talking about the Miami Dolphins. So sometimes those words pop out. And that's why I would never do a live stream. Like some of the guys on this YouTube channel, they would live stream, while they're watching the Miami Dolphin game. I wouldn't, because it wouldn't be very nice. It'd be me yelling at the TV. It wouldn't be very entertaining and whatever. I would never live stream a Dolphin game while I'm watching it. And then that's just me. That's something I couldn't handle it. I would be saying some choice words on there that wouldn't be appropriate for the little ones. Because I swear that I think they hear me through the TV. So I scream at the TV. So that's why I wouldn't do that live stream stuff. But Daniel, it's possible, of course, because you never know what other teams need. It is a deep draft for the tight ends, but I wouldn't gamble on it. If that's your guy, I would take him at 51 and not think twice about it. So because he's a good player. He can block, he can catch. I just think he's the perfect fit for what McDaniel likes to get done. And we just added Schobert, so he would be like the veteran experience, because rookie tight ends do sometimes have a bigger learning curve than other positions. So let him come in, learn from under Schobert at the beginning of the season, and smite and get him going nicely. Like obviously Long never panned out for the Miami Dolphins when they drafted him out of Boston College, and now he's out on the other side of the coast, playing for the Rams. So it is what it is. Hunter Long just never participated. I thought he was going to be good. I know he wasn't ranked as highly as Tucker Kraft's been ranked, but he was still, I thought, going to be a good pick and a solid pick for the Dolphins. And a lot of Dolphin fans were surprised because we didn't really need a tight end. So I was thinking, it must really be PA. He must really be good if they're drafting him at this, even though it's not one of our biggest needs. But he never panned out. Never panned out in 2 seasons. I think he caught one pass in 2 seasons for 8 yards or something like that. Don't hold me to the exact numbers, but it's something like that. And then, he wasn't even the dominating blocker that you think a big boy coming out of Boston College would go out there and do. He wasn't even that smasher. So it's like, what the heck is he on the team for? So they got rid of him as part. He was just like a throw-in with the draft pick we gave up to bring Ramsey. I still think we got the better end of that deal. Again, yes, we have to pay. We paid Ramsey, and that's why our numbers are going to be hard moving forward. Yes, he did. Long had a short stint. He did in Miami. It's a shame, too, because, that's what you have to have. That's where Greer falls sometimes. I know a lot of guys, because the draft is like a crapshoot. In the first round, I think the odds are like 50-50 whether he's going to be a star or a bust. So it's not easy. And then it proceedingly goes down as the rounds get later. It's more of a crapshoot, because they can do all the scouting, all the watching of the film, but you just don't know how someone's going to do when they get to the NFL. And then some guy that's under the radar, like I'll bring back good Dolphin memories, like a Mark Clayton and a Zach Thomas. These guys were late round draft picks, and they came in to be Dolphin legends. And, Zach Thomas is not only a Dolphin legend now, and he's finally where he deserves in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Long overdue. So it just shows that you can get lucky sometimes, and the Dolphins sometimes don't get lucky like that, because Kansas City, they plug in people, they draft. Do they have that much better scouting? Do they have that much better of a system? Or do they just get a little lucky on their side sometimes? And these guys, they find this, boom, they come in. Because let's face it, they traded away Tyreek Hill last year, and their offense did not miss a beat. They just went on, won the damn Super Bowl. Oh, I said, damn, now I'm on a roll. But anyway, they went and won the Super Bowl. So it's not always about getting it. It's just sometimes I think it's a system a lot of times and the great players. And yes, it's not really fair to compare the Chiefs because they do have Patrick freaking Mahomes. And that's going to like tilt anything. I would be probably looking like my system's good. I would be, yeah, Patrick, go throw it to the guy that's open and do your thing, and I would look like I'm an offensive genius. So I know it's not always fair to compare, but you can say again, they get, and I want to say they got lucky to get Patrick Mahomes because they knew what they wanted. They traded up and they got him. So they really knew, and a lot of teams didn't. I mean, heck, Trubisky and all these guys, teams are thinking, oh, Trubisky. I mean, Chicago traded up to get freaking Trubisky when freaking all they had to do was sit where they were, get Patrick Mahomes, and all their roles would have been gone. And now they're still tinkering with their young quarterback and everything all these times later. So it's nuts. It's crazy, So it's just sometimes you're there. Hey, thank you, Steve. I know I'm about to get going too. Like I say, I'm just kind of rambling on today because I don't have a co-host. I'm trying to find a good time slot to where I can get more people here. That's why I love the Fins Talk Sports Network because I'm always with people there. They're over 800 subscribers. They're a great network. Make sure you go up there and hit it. And if you like my show and you want to see me more of me, every Tuesday night, 7:30 on the Fins Talk Sports Network. But as far as the Dolphins, like I say, let's just see moving forward. It's still a long ways to go until football starts counting for a will. Let's see after the NFL draft where we stand along the offensive line, and then I will tell you. Because like all you, I wanted a right tackle. I'll be honest. I just thought a right tackle. Yes, a left guard, but you can't get two, and I think you can get away with a Feeney or an Eichenberg, someone at left guard. But that right tackle, when your quarterback's a lefty, he's out there on an island a lot of times, and you can't have a guy getting beat. And that's where I would really, really want to improve on the right tackle position. If you had told me all the positions, if you told me right now we could go get a Pro Bowl caliber, I know Pro Bowl is not as meaningful as it, but it's still a good quality Pro Bowl or All Pro right tackle or one of those All Pro running backs, I would still say I would go for the tackle. And most people would think I'm crazy. They go, oh no, you got to go for King Henry. But to me, I don't know. To me, it's like it builds a more solid foundation up front. And yes, I know King Henry's a little bit different than most running backs because he was a great year last year and he had a poorly ranked offensive line. But I just think for overall status on what the Dolphins like to do, a right tackle is vital. And I believe that our backs will do better, even better than they did last year, if they get that right tackle. But what do I know? We'll see. And I don't trust Greer drafting offensive linemen, so that's the only bad thing. We had not much luck. Then that's where we need to get a little bit lucky because I know it's skill, yes, in drafting. Maybe some people really do have a little bit better eye, or at least they know how to manage it better. But at the end of the day, it's really hard, and you got to get a little lucky because back in the day when Mark Clayton was drafted, there was a 12-round draft, and I think he was an 8th-round pick. An 8th-round pick, Mark Clayton. Can you imagine? Just like the Chiefs got Tyreek Hill in the 5th round or 6th round. I should know that as one of my trivia questions on my site, but I always blank between one of those two numbers. But they got him later, so it's just sometimes luck happens. So not only do they draft Tyreek Hill with a late round draft pick, get all those great years use out of him, winning football games, making big plays, then they flip him when it's time to get that big contract, flip him to the Dolphins for a 1st-round pick. So they turned that 5th-round pick into great years of football, and then into a 1st-round pick for more years great football coming up. So they obviously know what they're doing in Kansas City. And with that said, I am out of here for. Thank you to all you guys. Fins up. Make sure you follow, you like, and all that good stuff. And for that, I am out of here. And I'm going to put up one of my ending banners for one of my rookies before I go to the out music here. A random guy that you would have never thought I would put up, Ricky Stromberg. He's a center out of Arkansas. I just decided to put a random guy up. But here's another one I like, though, actually. This guy I wouldn't mind seeing, John Michael Smith. I would not mind seeing the Dolphins take him at 2 if they don't go the tight end route. Yes, he plays center, but he can also play guard, I'm sure. But he can play center, and I know we got a good center. But again, sometimes best player available, and if he's available, to me, it's a possibility. With that said, I would like to tell you guys thank you. I will see you soon. Make sure you like and subscribe. Make sure you watch if you love the NFL draft talk and want really good NFL draft content. Watch tonight on the Fins Talk Sports Network. They will have a show dedicated to the NFL draft tonight at 8 p.m., I believe it is. And it's a really good show. So make sure you give it a watch. And with that said, like, subscribe, Fins up, go Dolphins. See you next week when hopefully there's even more to talk about.